Hope you're well. I take a deep breath. I had to go to a walkthrough for a closing early tomorrow morning, and I made it back. That's why I changed the time from 4 to 4:15 because I didn't know if I would make it back by 4. But it's 4:08. I did it. All good. Everything's happy. Hey, everything is good. How is everybody? Good? Can't wait. I have nothing to talk about. I went and picked up my mail because someone sent me a card and they to my office and they emailed me and said, "Hey, did you pick up your mail? Did you get my card?" And no, but I don't check the office mail very often, so I went and checked it. I checked it before I left for uh, evacuation, and then I packed up the key. Then I had to look for the key, but I found it, and I got a letter from the bar. So if you don't know me, I'm Patty Wilson, and this show is on this channel. It's not really a show, is it? This channel is called Patty's Playhouse, and it's named after our radio show. My business partner, Scott, are real estate agents in Tallahassee, Florida. And that is where Dan Markel lived prior to his murder in 2014. And I've been licensed for a long time. I was licensed then. And so I just kept the same name for brand consistency. My sister-in-law was a marketing person for the state of Florida, and she was the one who did the name Fresh from Florida. And so the very few questions I've asked her about marketing, because she doesn't really want to be asked, although I love her very much. She's very funny. She said, make sure your brand is consistent. So I was like, whatever, I'll just use Patty's Playhouse. So that's the reason why it's called Patty's Playhouse. And in my aspect of true crime, the only niche that I could possibly provide is to talk about where these people who either were murdered lived, or the perpetrators lived, the murderers, the suspects, that kind of thing. So I try to tie that in. As you know, if you've watched for a little while, there have been homes that I'm not even going to worry about because these people don't matter to me. So I have to have some interest in where they live because I spend time, like, where'd they get the loan? How did they renovate the home? Like, I'm very nosy. And in Florida, it's easy because it's public. New York City, not so much, but I can find people who live in New York City. So I wanted to show you the bar letter. So I got it. I'm going to just share my screen. And they're very nice. I just did a screenshot of it. They obviously are extremely professional. Once they made the bar complaint against attorney Daniel Rashbaum after the fiasco that occurred a couple weeks ago, it's not very big. Let me pull up the photo of it. Just 1 second. Okay. So once I sent in a bar complaint, which I admitted I did it, that was fine. I knew what I was doing as far as the public information and what was okay and what wasn't okay, right? I knew what I was doing. Let me get rid of these. This is an interesting scan right there. So the Supreme Court, someone sent me a article. Or no, I guess a ruling. It's not an article. See, I don't know the law, mentor lawyer. And the Florida bar. So I sent the complaint. They're like, attorney will look at it a few days and they'll get back to you. So this is the status that I got. Dear Ms. Wilson, I have reviewed your inquiry complaint form. Please be advised that the Florida bar is already aware of the issues you raised and is investigating the matter. For confidentiality reasons, I cannot discuss the matter with you. In light of the above, I'm closing this inquiry, meaning mine, effective September 24. They sent it out September 25th, which was, nice. Pursuant to the Florida bar retention policy, file will be disposed of 1 year from closing. So they'll close it up. But this is the ACAP hotline, which is where the attorney complaints go. But it was just, whether they look at it or not, whether they really even look at it or not, but clearly I knew they were going to read it because I think that's the law. Mentor lawyer, I think it's the law. That they are having their own complaint. So I feel pretty good about myself. I doubt myself, and I prompted this. I doubt it. I didn't think whatever I wrote was so incredible that it was like the Florida bar is going to look at this woman and say, let's read hers. I just think it's a very public trial. And they had no choice but to investigate it, to be honest with you. I mean, he said it out loud. So I did want to share that because I am, if nothing else, transparent. I really am. I do believe that if you say something, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, and you happen to be wrong, you should admit it. That's all. And let's pretend. So someone asked me recently about my education. And I always say, this is just a small example, that I don't have a degree. And people are like, why is she talking about that? It's just an example of what I feel is important when you talk about other people, is that you are transparent. So this person who's why is this not working? Is a subscriber, and like her very much, lots of respect. And I'm trying to get the AC turned down. And she said, well, what do you mean you don't have a degree? Because in her state, you had to have an associate's to be a nurse. Well, when I got licensed years ago, it was just a certificate program. It wasn't a nurse. It was a nursing school attached to a community college. We didn't take any real liberal arts. I just took like microbiology, AMP, but my AMP, which is anatomy and physiology, was combined. So if I wanted to take AMP I have to tell this person, at college, when I went to, I'm on YouTube, I can't talk. All right, bye. That I would have had to take anatomy separate from physiology because mine was combined. It wasn't the full course. So although sad for me that I would have had to take it again, I didn't. So I only have a certificate program. So when my family was like, you don't even have a degree, which is a long story, previous shows of this channel or videos, I was like, I'm going to go get a degree. So I went and started school because damn it, I was going to get a degree because you like diminish me because I didn't have one. So now I'm going to have two. And two in less than 2 years. So it's pretty good, pretty cool. But I think if you are like a nurse and you say, I'm a nurse, you should be a nurse, right? You should be a nurse. So I am not a nurse in Florida, but I maintain my license in Pennsylvania. So if anyone asks, Patty, you're not a nurse in Florida, that's why. I used to be a nurse in Florida, but I let that license go because just the number of CEUs I needed to take to maintain the license was too much. But I'm still a nurse and I'm licensed in Pennsylvania. And if I ever wanted to reciprocate, I could easily reciprocate. So that's what that story is about. But I just think if whatever mistake you make, whether it's in your resume or it's a letter to the bar, or it's saying that someone's going to be laughed at because they wrote a letter to the bar, it doesn't always happen the way we as YouTubers say it is. So I think you should just be transparent about it. And that's it. That's it. So thank you all so much for being with me today, piling up on the snacks. I think you all have too much high hopes for this one. Really do. I wanted to do like a question and answer and pull things out of a file as quickly as possible. As Debbie says, I'm going to pull things out of thin air because that is what I do. People ask great questions. And I think it's fun for me to go see if I can find the answer. And people have so far thought it was fun for me to do that. So that's why I do it. And if you gain weight, Murder by Maestro, while you watch me pull things out of thin air, it is not my fault. So this is my Diet Coke because I thought I'm going to recycle. I'm sorry, that just cracked me up. So if you don't know me, I drink Diet Coke without ice. And I've been getting these Circle Ks for a long time. And I have this for coffee. And I thought, I should just use it for my Diet Coke. So this is my Diet Coke today. I've only had one. And this is it. It's like a 2-liter, but it's mine. When you drink Diet Coke, you can do things on the fly. Absolutely. So I do want to thank you all. So last Sunday, I had a 3-hour and 1-minute moment. And I called people out for their lack of transparency in my mind. It's my mind. That's it. No one else's. And I was like, oh, I'm in trouble because there was a gal that emailed me, and she works for one of the sponsors of the parade that we put on for the Veterans Day. And I thought, oh my God, that's it. I'm done now. But no, they were very supportive. They were absolutely very supportive. I had hundreds of emails. And I believe if I look closely, I have answered all of them, which was no small feat coming back from, yeah, I think so. I think I answered every single one of them. Now I have new ones today, so I haven't gotten to those, but I have emailed everyone that either gave me advice and said, hey, maybe you would want to change this with your brand or do it. Everybody was very nice. Everybody was very respectful. And I had text messages, and then I started a Reddit, and the Reddit is called Dan Markel Justice. Instead of Dan Markel murder, we're past the murder, unfortunately, that it even occurred, but it's Dan_Markel_Justice. And whatever we can find, we'll put out there. Yesterday, there was the warrant. Let me show you the warrant. I don't know if I have it real quick. No, that's old warrant. I have to pull things off on the fly because I don't know where I put them. I am not very organized on this computer until I sit down Saturday and organize all my files. That's when I do it. And then I have everything together. But packing up 2 offices and getting out of here, which if another one shows up before November, I'm leaving again too. I'm not sticking around for these storms. I'm just not doing it. Like, I can get a new computer. I just can't take it. Okay. So here's the affidavit search warrant that was filed with the state a couple days ago, but it was kind of under lock and key. They didn't share it with us. So for whatever reason, it is the state of Florida. They do have their own privacy as far as how they handle evidence, right? So this says affidavit for search warrant. Now it does say 2023 3226, but the filing date was 2024. So this says, before me, the undersigned judge of the county court in and for Leon County, Florida, personally came investigator Jason Newland, who we kind of all know if you're following this case, who, being first duly sworn, deposes and says that the affiant, I'm going to make this bigger. The affiant has probable cause to believe that certain laws have been and are, that's the word, and are being violated in or about a certain premises and the curtilage thereof, and the evidence of the violation of certain laws in the form of computer data maintained by Google Inc., says we're in Mountain View, California. Said data is under the control of Google Inc. and is now being kept or maintained by Google Inc. Any and all Google accounts for Gmail address charlieadelson@gmail.com to include all subscriber info such as name, address, date, account created, account status, alternate email addresses, registration from the IP, date ID registered, IP history, and last known IPs. The contents of any and all emails stored in Charlie Adelson and Gmail to include drafts, which I have a large draft file. Like, I'll start an email and never send it. Sent, deleted, and any other information or email items related to the previously listed accounts. which is being kept and used in violation of law for the state of Florida, or being kept and constitute evidence or evidence relevant to proving a violation of the laws or the state of Florida, homicide. And it says for the search warrant, then it goes on to the affidavit for, the murder, what occurred, 2016. In 2022, the proffers were conducted with Catherine Magbanua, confirming many of the investigation's discovery. In 2023, trial for Charlie Adelson commenced. Charlie was found guilty on the 6th of November. I started this channel on the 7th, so the next day. He was sentenced to life in December 2023. In Adelson's trial, Magbanua testified that Adelson told her that his mother, Donna Sue, had just departed his residence at the time Magbanua arrived on the night of the homicide. Magbanua said the money she received appeared to be washed. She also stated Charlie told his mother Donna washed the money at their condo. The statement was made prior to July 18, 14, and Magbanua recalled it being stated again on July 18, 14, the date she received the money. The jail calls talks about Donna Sue is telling Charlie that she is getting things in order, creating trust, making sure grandchildren are taken care of. In a separate call, Donna discusses plans for a suicide, but also discusses plans to flee. I'm going to skip that because I don't want them to think it's an address. We already know that she went to Vietnam. I am getting a lot, which is very clever of people, privacy strikes on my YouTube videos, but you'll see they have not been removed. So I think people are just trying to be clever with me, but it hasn't worked yet. On Monday, November 13, a friend of Charlie Adelson contacted the state attorney office. They advised Donna and Harvey contacted them regarding travel to the Philippines. The Adelsons advised they had travel plans to Saigon on November 20th, but no further plans at the time. The Adelsons were seeking advice for airlines as well as places to stay. The family friend has known the Adelsons for over 10 years and has never had longer than a 5-minute conversation with Donna or Harvey. They found the contact very strange. This could be Scott Radius, right? Scott Radius, who was on the witness list. Charlie was trying to buy some sort of condo / timeshare from Scott Radius's wife's Michelle. And Harvey was trying to get the money back. Well, that didn't work. On Monday, November 13th at approximately 8 p.m., she was taken into custody. We know that. Scroll down. A report was generated for a review of her emails. Data's reviewed Donna's emails, Wendy's, as well as Celebrate reports from the phones of Donna, Harvey, and Wendy, along with the iCloud return of Charlie Adelson. Emails have played a critical role in the state's theory of the case. Emails between Donna and Charlie were observed in the return of Donna's email search warrant. These emails were not located in any other device or search warrant previously served. Due to Charlie Adelson communicating with Donna via emails that have not been previously observed, investigators are requesting a search warrant for Charlie's email to locate any and all communication pertaining to the murder of Dan Markel. The undersigned affiant is an investigator. Great. On this basis, it's all the same. Wherefore, what's how Jason Newland constantly bringing it up, like constantly. Here's the actual search warrant, any and all Google accounts for that email address, the IP, blah, blah, blah. The out therefore, or any of you are hereby commanded in the name of the state of Florida. Google does things in their own time. I showed that article last night on the community notes. You are further commanded in the event that you seize any of the said property to make up at the time and place of seizure a full and complete inventory of all things seized and taken, like if it was personal property. The court has found the above referenced items are being sought, and there is reasonable belief that notification by Google of the existence of this warrant to any person would seriously jeopardize the investigation. And it is signed 30th September 2024. Stephen S. Everett, judge in and for Leon County. Electronic data. I, Investigator Newland, then signed as the affiant 1 October 2024. Lush. It's really lush. It's a good day because they're still investigating. Gives me such a warm feeling about the state attorney office that they are still investigating. Very, very nice. Ooh. I'm going to go to the bottom of the comments for now. I don't see that you can file an anonymous complaint to the bar. I didn't see that availability. My friend who sent an anonymous complaint to Department of Business and Professional Regulations for unlicensed activity as a real estate agent, that complaint was taken like a grain of salt. They didn't even give a ding. DBPR told the person when he called, they don't care. Basically, they did not care. It wasn't Charlie's phone. It was Charlie's email. Charlie's email. Pula Joe, that's a new name I've not heard, says you have every right to put in a complaint as a citizen. That's what the form says. There's criticizing you or condescending. Well, I mean, it's uneducated. I don't know if it's condescending, but it's definitely uneducated because it clearly says you can't. Thank you for this. My blouse came from Dillard's and it was a clearance item and it's very comfortable. We're kind of in between weather right now. It is nice out. Gosh, I mean, the feeling I have for our neighboring counties, which Taylor County and Madison County and Franklin County are very, very, they're decimated. But the weather, the heat that went through with that hurricane, but they're decimated. I'm trying to give a refrigerator away and a stove to someone down there. So I'm just like, could someone take it? Let me look. You are really boring to listen to. Not you, mentor. It's mentor lawyer. Hi, Roberta. How are you? Hi, Mr. C. Justice for Dan. Diet Coke, no ice is very hardcore. I don't like the watered down version. I'm sorry. I did see your last live, Roberta. I watched it on replay. It was nice. It was longer. I appreciated it. I definitely appreciated the longer videos. It's like just when I get into one of her videos, Roberta will go, well, that's all I have. And I do respect the choice to not just continue on ad nauseum, but still. Hi, Tenacious P. You just saying hi and then dropping off to sleep. Okay, well, you go to bed. Scott Radius versus Harvey Adelson, the fight for the ages, right? Well, I want my money back, said Harvey, for this timeshare condo, whatever it really is. We don't even know. And I guess another $16,000 was owed. And Scott Radius, who's a manager, which if you go back and past shows, you'll see of nightclubs in these large hotels, like big hotels, like like a Las Vegas style nightclub, which I'm too old to probably even be let in, right? The bouncer would be like, what's she doing here? And Scott Radius was like, you actually still owe $16,000, but we'll be happy to pay it on your behalf. And then we'll just take ownership, which they technically had ownership anyway, because Charlie Adelson couldn't buy a condo / timeshare or any other property in Vietnam because he's not Vietnamese. So it never was going to be in his name. And he's just cutting checks to Scott Radius. And we're like, Scott Radius is a hero. Scott Radius is a hero for turning them in. But in essence, it did it. I mean, now he has a condo and he turned them in. So it was a win-win for Scott Radius, which I think is absolutely hilarious. And they can't really do anything to him because he's in the other side of the world. I just think so much. I just so think it's so funny that he did it. I think it's so funny that he's like, let us pay this for you. And then let me call you. I think he'd already called them into the feds, but I still think it's funny. Yes, it is nice to know that the bar is at least investigating. Wonder if lawyers or judge filed. We will never know. They never, ever, ever publish it. It's not like a complaint against a real estate agent or a nurse. We don't ever know. Thank you, Jordan. I appreciate it. So if you do enjoy, I think some things are, I think most of things in life are funny that don't have to do with murder. We did start that other Reddit. I haven't made rules yet, so I have to work on the rules, but it has to be tailored down because right now there's a bunch of memes which are funny, but really go against the mission. So I kind of just have to tailor it and still respect free speech, if that makes sense to everybody. Oh, you haven't seen any updates and you're asking Roberta Glass. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but I think it's Hyman Lee's killer. So we don't know what's going on there. Yes, me too, Yurts, me too. When in doubt, I don't need to be the prompt. I don't care. I'm not sucked into that stuff, but it has to be me, right? It just has to be done. That's all I care about. Just do it. I'm reading your comments. Thank you, SD. I don't, but I wanted to explain if nobody saw the 3 hour and 1 minute video. Hi, Michael. How are you? So Bilbo's hairy toes. If they're already investigating, did someone else make a complaint, or was this such a public f up that they had to? Or the number of complaints public knowledge? The number of complaints when you go on the Florida Bar ACAP site, it literally says this once made will be remain confidential. They do keep it in the file. So if another issue came up, let's pretend it was unfounded. So let's pretend Daniel Rashbaum's behavior for the last year was completely, really more than that, because he was Donna and Harvey's original and they didn't really sign a waiver for him to be their child's. And then it's a lot. So let's pretend that his behavior, it's just completely unfounded. There's not enough to do anything. It's just common behavior amongst attorneys, which, just saying, could happen. It could happen. We don't have to like it. Florida Bar investigates their own. So that's how that works. Then they keep the other complaints in a like file 13 somewhere. And if a new issue arises, then they will take that previous complaint and bring it back in and say, does this have anything to do with the new complaint? I hope that's clear. And that's just from reading, not from experience of filing bar complaints. I am not the owner of the Dan Markel case. And I really don't drink a lot of alcohol, which I just don't. Hi, Rebecca. Thank you for subbing. I really appreciate you all who do moderate this. I do appreciate it. We do not have moderators for the Reddit. I'm working on that. Right now it's smaller. It's like less than 300, I think. But it's still funny. I mean, I've already learned a lot. I'm only one person. I can't investigate everything. So it's learned a lot already today. The washing of the money never gets old. Can you imagine? I wish I could have seen Catherine Magbanua's face when Charlie's like, hey, my mom washed the money. And then said it again on the 18th. The money's been washed. Who does that? Who washes the money? I didn't need to know this murder. Murder by Maestro says that Charlie email has been in 8 data breaches. No one needs to know that. We just would prefer that all data is secure and we believe it. Okay. So funny, though. I mean, just thinking about that, it just cracks me up. It says, Aw Dillards. Yes, it's the only nice store we have in Tallahassee. If you do come to a future trial, which will be named, I'll probably be 60 by the time it's all said and done. So if you do come to a future trial, Dillard's is nice. And I think they have 2 big sales twice a year. Mm-hmm. You think if it were anonymous, it would encourage more people to speak up, but then it's just whining. I think they see it as just whining. right? I don't think they see it as anything sincere if you're not willing to back your name to it. And there's a lot of that where people will say things and then take it down and then say it again and take it down because they're not willing to stand up for what they really say. Does that make sense? There's a lot of that everywhere, not just YouTube, but I think that's what the boards have determined as far as how they want to proceed for any kind of complaint. Like I talk to a gal all the time, chiropractor, and she says that if you're going to file a complaint against the chiropractor, I'm sure it's just like a nurse. They're not going to take like a public video of YouTube and be like, file that complaint and take it seriously. You have to be a party to it. So in my case, the way I've crafted the complaint to the bar was that I am a party to it because it's the state versus Adelson. It's not Adelson versus the Markels or Markels versus the Adelsons. It's the state. And as a resident of the state and as a possible payor of the mistakes that were made intentionally, maybe intentional, that I just should have a say in it. And that's how I crafted the email. Whether it's true or not, whether it's ridiculous or not, whether they laughed at me and had a few snacks, I don't care. What needed to be said by me, just for my own peace of mind, if they're having that, that they have cocktail hours. So if they're having that charcuterie board and they're talking about the complaints from Daniel Rashbaum and they're just like having a cocktail or two, that's fine. I don't care. But if that woman, and I mean Donna Adelson, Donna Sue, dies in prison, she is innocent. She is not guilty. She's not even exonerated at all. It's not even a not guilty. She is innocent of the murder. So if she dies in prison, we pay for this. Maybe, because the judge said only if she is found guilty does the defense pay for that. That's it. So it's something to think about. And thank you, Rebecca. I try to read well. I did take Toastmasters a long time ago, but I have said so a few more times than I would normally like today. Murder says, I don't know what DriveSure car dealership service provider is, but Charlie also got that email hacked through them. We could find his vehicle details. Hold on. DriveSure. I'm just pulling things out on the fly. So there was a 2020 in this. Man, they have just so many ads. It's just so obnoxious. God. So I do monetize this channel, but I don't turn on the monetization for like 2 or 3 days because I don't want people to have to watch the ads all the time. So I don't, just so you know, because it's just. So this is DriveSure, Murder by Maestro. And they say a number of customers have recently been notified that their information may have been compromised. The page details cause of these notifications. And then so what happened? December 20, we discovered that an unauthorized party accessed certain data with one of DriveSure's hosted systems. Since we first became aware of this, we disabled the unauthorized party's access. I wonder how long that took. And commenced an internal investigation with the assistance of an outside cybersecurity firm. Has data been taken? We discovered that an unauthorized party who accessed certain data with one of the hosted systems is attempting to sell that data on the dark web, a site that is not easily accessed from your normal internet. It's from Linux, or to unauthorized third parties. Throughout our investigation of the incident, which was supported by cybersecurity experts and law enforcement, we determined the following information. Why are we doing this? DriveSure offering a complimentary credit monitoring to individuals who information may have been accessed by stolen, blah, 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 blah. What do they do? They're helping new car dealerships remain the go-to provider for maintenance, tires, and repairs. Okay, so it's like a portal. It's a portal murder. So if you go and need an oil change and you mistakenly say, I'm going to go to the dealership and pay 3 times as much for an oil change for my vehicle as I could if I went to another place, then they log all that. It's all that data. basically what it is. It's a portal. Interesting though. Oh, Claudia, I'm sorry. I'm sorry on behalf of the content creators because I think in their hearts, and I told a few people this week, as in like 300, that I think in the overall heart of everyone who follows this case is good. Like 99.9% is good. But because it's such large numbers, that even tiny 0.1% is high. It's high. So I apologize, and I don't want this channel to become a nasty debate situation, but I will defend my dog, and I will go to law enforcement where necessary, and I will search for transparency. So if I feel like other channels aren't, or I disagree with the content, and we'll take Donna's uncle, for instance. One channel, Fancy Fiction, believes the man is alive and he is a plastic surgeon in Boca. I could be very wrong. I believe he has passed away. Now, she could be speaking to, she talks about how she has all these sources. She could be speaking to Robert. She could be speaking to the Minces. She could be speaking to his wife. She could be speaking to a lot of people. I have no idea. I'm just going by data. I haven't spoken to anyone because I don't feel comfortable calling people. I just look at data. But my data says he is passed away. Her data says he's alive. When I research her data, Fancy Fiction, it says that this man, the plastic surgeon, Elliot Jacobs, was actually born in New Rochelle, which is not where Donna was born. It could be a complete coincidence or not a coincidence. I don't know because I haven't spoken to anybody and I'm waiting. I ordered his death certificate. So I went and ordered Elliot Roy Jacobs' death certificate, as you can. You don't have to be a family member as long as you're not looking for the cause of death. It's just this short form. So it won't say the cause of death. It won't give a social security number. It won't give anything personal, but it will say what his parents' names were. So that's why I ordered it. So I will pay the money to either prove myself right or wrong. And that's just how I work. Have I ever tried those silicone things you freeze and then put in drinks to make them cold? No. I don't. Yurt says he always wanted, if he left Washington State, he would want to live in Asheville. I love that place being next to Biltmore, Chimney Rock. Chimney Rock is gone. Chimney Rock is just absolutely gone. Gala says Scott Radius is the con man Charlie could never be. You got to give him credit, man. He got all the info. He got the unit, which he was going to get anyway, because Charlie really never had a right to it, although he paid for it. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard and should be taught in every real estate school from now on. And he got to turn them in. He got the whole unit for 16 grand. It's brilliant. I think he's absolutely brilliant. Any thoughts on the P. Diddy case? So even from the beginning, I said children thing is very hard for me. I have 3 children. I have 4 grandchildren. They are aged 13 to 7, and it's hard. And I don't understand humanity. I don't understand the desire to be famous so much that you just let your kid go to Diddy and let him stay there or groom him or whatever they do. I don't even know what they do. I don't understand the desire to be famous. Even with Harvey Weinstein, I don't understand the desire to be famous so much that you would go have sex with that cretin, that mutant. I don't understand it. I just don't. I don't have that desire to be that famous and or that infamous. It's just hard for me. And I wonder, we were talking about it on the radio yesterday. We had our radio show and we were talking about, who's ordering all the baby oil. Like you're on like auto ship from Amazon and you've got your uh hard workers backslash slaves, because it's probably all blackmail involved in everything Diddy did. And you've got shipments and shipments of baby oil coming in. And that's okay. You're just like, hey, here's another shipment for Diddy. Or are you so scared? Are you scared for your safety? Or are you so scared to speak up because you will lose the lifestyle you've come to adore? So much so that you've lost your humanity. There have been people that had to have emergency surgery on their bowels leaving Diddy's house. I hope he rots. I don't know what else to say, but I hope he rots. I'm not an attorney. He will never get out. He may unalive himself, and I'm good with that. Save the money, but at least there's 120 pending lawsuits, and I hope it's not like Epstein. I pray it's not like Epstein, because I want every name out there. I think Kim Kardashian likely should lose her sponsors. I think J-Lo had to have known and should lose her sponsors. I think all of those other basketball players, football players, anybody who was sponsored by Nike, Adidas, I don't care, should lose their sponsorships. Anybody who is willing to go to that white party, watch people receive ketamine, whether they knew it or not, underage especially, drugged out, anesthetized, because that's what ketamine does. It makes you hallucinate and you are anesthetized. I hope they all lose everything. Houses, money, their families, their children. They should lose. Every child should be taken into custody. Every single child. I have no empathy, no sympathy, no emotion, other than I would like the cretins to be eliminated. And that won't happen in California, New York State, or anywhere that isn't Florida or Texas. The cretins will still be around, and people will still find a new cretin to send their child to, so the child can be famous and make millions and pay their parents' bills. That's all. Hi, Arlene. How are you? I love that Rashi has one Google review. Well, let's take a look. I can't believe they would keep it up. The Martindale, is that the one you're talking about? Dan is a terrific lawyer and person. Is this what you mean? He's a terrific lawyer and person. I would not hesitate to refer clients to him. Well, I would. I would. I don't know much, but I would. In Chambers USA, Dan is described as a fierce defender of his clients. He thinks on his feet like no other attorney. Okay. So there's no other attorney anywhere in the world that he could think on his feet like that he has ever seen before, like nowhere else. Nowhere. And you can tell he enjoys the work, he enjoys the challenge, and he enjoys, it's comical, right? The obstacle. He just can't. He's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. You don't like it? Sue me. Because I will sit there in front of a judge and say, you're ridiculous. I have no problem with that. It's only defamation if it's not true. I don't see any other reviews. So funny though. He may just get a disciplinary action, like a slap on the wrist. You usually need a few instances for anything to happen. This may be his first complaint. So what I found, because if I'm going to do something like that, I got to research the hell out of it. And what I found, the average punishment for conflict of interest complaints against his bar license is a public admonishment and going to ethics school. The ones I have found in the last 4 years had nothing to do with murder cases, though. They were all like mini, like civil cases or escrow issues when holding escrow for a transaction. There were several real estate escrow transaction issues and in conflict for the attorney that was punished, but none were murder. So I don't know if the case itself carries greater weight as to punishment or not. I don't know. You actually read this, watched the Sunny chat 2 times. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I want to, she says, I want to record Patty saying Bilbo's hairy toes and make it your ringtone. I do that. I record things that I think are funny and make it a ringtone. What chats are disappearing? I keep staring to read something and then it disappears in the middle of it. I don't know because I'm not doing anything. What is the name of the Reddit page? Dan Markel Justice. If a lawyer is disciplined, it will be in their file. Cool. Yes, it's like that at university as well. If it gets to the point where it's bad enough, they'll notify the person and give them a chance to respond. It's unfounded, the person won't even know. In this case, it's not like the university. They will notify him of the complaint and they do give him time to respond. They won't notify, I mean, he'll know because he watches YouTube. But of the official complaint that they decide to go with, it was probably written better than mine, and it was probably from within. He will be notified and he will get time to respond. Shauna says, I wish I could have seen Donna washing money. Could you just even imagine? Even Catherine Magbanua, not the brightest fish in the pond, but when Donna shows up with the money and she's leaving or however that worked for real, in real life, we don't really know. Mom washed the money. So funny. So funny. Gretchen says in Kentucky, she lives in Kentucky. Once the lawyer was adjudicated, we all got a letter in the mail with all the goods, all the others who filed a complaint and his sentence. I love knowing the dirt. Well, good for you. Good for you. Because she had an issue with an attorney. Donna washes the money, but in his case, it's his mom. So he's like, hey, Katie, mom washed the money. She's like, you think how many complaints Alan Dershowitz gets at Harvard? Well, anybody who speaks out and happens to be against the university, wherever they're going to get a ton of complaints. Money, Debbie says money gets real crisp when it's washed. Took out 3 $1 bills yesterday. Crisp like bacon. Well, I guess they didn't put it in a dryer, right? And that's why it was moldy. Y'all says, agreed. Too many cowards out there. Saying with your chest or keep quiet. I agree. I mean, I just do. Florida bar doesn't have time for a non. Seriously, if you have a valid complaint, you have to be able to back it up. How could an attorney not understand a fiduciary? Because they like the money. They don't. These crimes that are committed, whether it's an attorney or the guy stealing. And okay, so close up here, Revels Meats. This man owns Revels Meats. His last name is Revels. And these 2 people, old enough to know better, in their 30s at least, started stealing meat from the butcher. And so shoplifting, and it's over off of Woodville Highway here in Tallahassee. And for whatever reason, Revel decided he's going to stop them. And the guy, it was a male and a female. So the male suspect takes Mr. Revel, who's huge, by the way, huge. Like he's tall, he's wide, like he's a big guy, and just pile drives him into the parking lot. Pile drives him. breaks bones. I mean, just don't stop him from shoplifting. It was like $100 worth of stuff. So Revels is just a mess. Like, he's a mess. He's in the hospital for days. And then they start posting, like, help us find these people. He had great cameras, by the way, which is, I think, important when you have people who are stalking you and are outside of your business or trying to get in your business. Having good cameras is really important. And we're getting more exterior cameras here, just in case anyone's curious. Outside my building, we're getting more. And pile drives him into a car, pile drives him into the parking lot, just like taking his head and like, that's what he did. Now, these people who pile drive Revel into a parking lot clearly did not think they could get caught. No one thinks they could get caught. Recently, I know of a woman who was a physician, and according to the case with the feds, she wrote 55 prescriptions to herself for weight loss. 55. Like, you would think they teach you in med school not to write any prescriptions to yourself. Right? I mean, that's part of the ethics. And let alone 55. And I'm sure, which, I wasn't there, she was quite shocked she got caught, because they just get so heady about it. Like, no one was going to catch them. Not on the 10th prescription or the 50th prescription. Noelle Bush, who was one of the Bush's grandchildren, wrote, at first had moved here. Her father was governor of Florida, and he was the education governor, right? He's one of the Bushes, which, although I'm a conservative and a libertarian, I don't like the Bushes, in case you ask. So anyway, Noelle had a problem. She had a drug problem at the time. I think she straightened her life out, which is fantastic and very hard to do. And she wrote a prescription to herself. And there was a anesthesia. Oh no, what it was? Oh, he was a radiologist. There was a radiologist here at the time, also named Noel, Noel. And she wrote the prescription in his name. Like, she faked the pad and used his name. Well, he doesn't write prescriptions. So the pharmacy caught it immediately and turned her in, and she had a mug shot and the whole thing. And I'm thinking, did you notice? Like, he was a radiologist. Did you really think you wouldn't get caught? Goes on to Donna Adelson. Donna Adelson, whatever. We don't fully know what her involvement is. I think she was very involved, like 100% involved into the murder of Daniel Markel, but she's still, due to be on trial, hopefully, someday. And did they think they were going to get caught? These people truly believe they were not going to get caught. I mean, she had a suitcase waiting for Charlie so he could go on to one of his young Asian girl haunts and hunts and traffic. I mean, whatever he did with these girls, it's horrible. And she was going to enable it because he needed a place to rest, right? I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on narcissism because I don't understand it. But that's how they just believe they're above it. They're above everything. So that's how the attorneys don't understand the fiduciary. And we've all seen the ugly side of YouTube. I mean, some of us experience it in different ways. Some of it observe it. But no one believes they're going to get caught. Whether they're telling tall tales about their work experience, or they're writing prescriptions to themselves, or they're pile driving a guy into a parking lot. No one really believes they're going to get caught. That's why they commit the crime. Mentor, thank you for that advice. This is clearly a facetious profile. He says citizens should not file complaints against attorneys because it's kind of an old boys club, except for the women who happen to be attorneys in this chat. You're lurking for trolls. Thank you, Tennis. But, you have a safe flight, dear. You have a safe flight. Patty was a Leon County taxpayer. I still am. Rain says she is a prosecutor. Thank you very much. Present tense, Mr. C. Thank you for that. Anyway, that's my thing on Diddy. I mean, I think that's going to get so many memes and so much trash going around about that whole experience. I just want people to suffer. I want people to suffer that attended those parties and saw those kids be injured, whether they watched those children watched injury, participated. I want them all to suffer. I want them to suffer. I'm reading your notes. Leslie says, never piss off a bunch of people on the internet, right? I mean, I am being outdone as far as research right now. So I just want you to know. I think I'm good and I am being outdone. What a POS family these Adelsons are. It really is. It's just so beyond sad that it has taken so long. Newer washing machines, well, it wouldn't. It would have been 10 years ago. Have a sterilizing cycle, but that's newer. Even Donna would have replaced her washing machine by now. Gmail for Donna had a folder called Dan Markel. I believe it. And people don't think any of that's easily kept. I mean, I can remember I'm taking still cybersecurity at Tallahassee State College. And what I can remember sitting there just motionless, not emotionless, but motionless. When the instructor would talk about Snapchat, I can't even begin to tell you. If your children use Snapchat, turn off the location today. Like now, leave this chat, go turn off the location of Snapchat. Because you can literally, I can share with you a screen and watch all of these people Snapchatting at Disney, young, old, whatever, and share their location, which means they're not home, which means someone can figure out who they are, facial recognition, and go to their house and rob it. Or just hack the system that Snapchat has. It's not hard. So I think people need to be aware of the social media they use, how they use it. Know that every click you take, whether you delete a letter or a character or change your password, it's all kept. It's all kept by everybody. So it's just something to think about because they're talking about in Charlie's warrant accounts associated with that email. So say he had a Google Drive associated with that email. Of course he did. So whatever's in that Google Drive associated with that Charlie Adelson email will now be known to the Leon County and TPD. Let's pretend he had spreadsheets under Google Sheets or the photos under Google Photos. Some people don't realize that your photo file is doubling. Like if you have a cloud and you have Google Photos and you don't go in and turn the photos off, every photo you take is now part of your Google file. Every photo. Every single one. It's not a joke. It's the truth. So every photo Charlie took, if he has a Google photo file on his drive, is now will go off to TPD. It's a big thing to think about. So knowing your software, what is attached to that email address. Like I use one email only for setting up subscriptions, whether it's Instacart or Netflix or whatever. I only use one email for that. I have one email for work, one email for YouTube, one email for, so it's all separate emails. Now, I've admitted some of my emails get forwarded to my office email because I'm lazy, just like most people, and they don't want to answer 25 emails. I have one email just for spam. So say I want to get a discount, but I don't want to have emailed every day by these people. Then I have a spam email and it all go to spam. But it's important to talk about. I mean, it's really important. Wendy made only one review on her Google account. It was for an electronics repair store, ironically enough, but a washing machine, not a TV. Interesting. Maybe they didn't know about that email. They maybe not knew about that email. Maybe somebody was just searching and searching. It says, why do you think, PLD, why do you think they are trying to obtain Charlie's Google data now? It's Google data associated with one email, and he might not have used that email before. I wish I did the separate emails for the marketing emails. It's a mess now to manage. It really is. And you can change it at any time. I mean, there's so many videos on YouTube how to, if you use Gmail, how to sort and identify like subscriptions or do mass unsubscribing. It is easy. It is easier than people think. I don't keep a full inbox. Not that Google cares or anybody with a search warrant, but I don't like that. Now, my business partner probably has 63,000 in his inbox. I do not. I sort and file. I can't handle it. Hey, Lizbeth, welcome. How are you? How are you? Sometimes you can get the calendar from Gmail. Those are the best, says Murder. You should be able to. I don't put my events in my Gmail calendar. I just don't. I don't know why. I just don't. Yes, you do need to call your daughter and give her a lecture on Snapchat. Let me show you. Let's see if I can remember the website. Don't know it. Is it this one? It's not Matt. I'll have to look at that. Map. Well, I'd have to log in, and I don't have a login right now for them. But it is something to consider. I don't use Snapchat. No one is allowed to tag your location when attending any event at our ranch. How do you stop that, Bling? I mean, you can just take everyone's phone. The warrant says they just found Charlie's Gmail and Donna's email report data from April 2024. They must have so much data. Mr. C says he has an email only for bills and I don't have it on my phone. That's smart. That's a smart way to organize. And you can, or have someone do it for you, like your home network. You can do your, what we call Internet of Things, where it's your Amazon, like pretend you have one of those Amazon thingies. I don't have one in my house. No one needs to hear me talk to my dog. Like, I'm just not doing that. You could say your TV, your Amazon, you could separate out what with network within a network, what attaches to what, so you can kind of control it. It's harder to hack. There were several emails for Donna when we did a search on her. We were talking about it a year ago. What it took law enforcement so long is hard to understand. Oh, wow. I mean, you could really, if they had people like us who get off on it, it would be huge. When you read the motion, it says something about emails that were not showing in his, but in Donna's, so they knew they didn't have everything. That makes sense. Right? That could be it. Leslie says, I still think the Gmail data warrant is also connected to what address is connected to it, like the missing Charlie phone. So if you don't know about the missing Charlie phone, Mentor Lawyer did a video on it. I don't know if it's still public, if we put it behind membership, but he had Donna's planner, which I'm going to order tomorrow if I have time. I'm going to order and just and I'm not going to hide it. Okay. It's a FOIA. It's not copywritten content. Okay. So I'm going to do that. And the planner had on there repetitively Charlie's phone, Charlie's phone, Charlie's phone, Charlie's phone. Alex Morris on the case management before the jury selection was the last. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was jury selection day. It was the 17th. So Alex Morris stands up and he's talking about he's part of the wall. He is a wall, separating everything that Charlie did with Donna. That's the wall. Whatever. And he said the first time he spoke to him was that Saturday before jury selection, which was Tuesday. And so he goes in with the appellate attorney and he goes to see, and that's the first time he's ever spoken to Charlie Adelson. And he says out loud for the world to hear, Adelson asked me, have I seen his phone? So I'm thinking, is it missing? Or did you review it? One of those two. There's only two answers. Is the phone missing? And did he see it? Alex Morris, who's current attorney for Donna Adelson. Or is it missing altogether? So I have a question, and I've spoken to a couple people about it out loud. I've shared with you that there are only 4 properties left that I could find of the Adelsons. There's 2 investment properties. There's the Brickell Avenue condo where Harvey lives, and there's the Whale Harbor. Remember, he owned 2, Tortugas and Whale Harbor. Tortugas was sold to a guy from Davie, Florida, who was a tech guy, and the Whale Harbor house. And I'm like, why do they still own the Whale Harbor house? It's worth a lot of money. Harvey's never going to live in it. It's basically like run down and icky, right? Ugh, can you imagine? Why have they not sold it? Do you think anything could be in there that's being hidden that's still located in the Whale Harbor house that law enforcement has not found? Why keep it? I understand the investment properties. I understand Harvey's living in a, several $million condo. But why have they not sold Whale Harbor? Does anyone have an idea of that? Just interesting to me. Gmail calendar is properly weak. Never use it. I don't use it. Bye, Debbie. You have a good night. Hi, Junebug. How are you? PLD, I wonder if they discovered the existence of that Gmail account on a more recent device they seized. Could be. I would be hilarious as a judge. Well, I would be disbarred because the face can't do it. And I was telling someone yesterday on the phone that I admired our mayor. So our mayor was called for jury duty. He was one of the selected for Charlie. And then he goes back during jury selection. He wasn't selected finally, but he was one that goes back to voir dire, the individual. And they asked, do you believe Charlie Adelson is guilty? And he said, yes, I do. Now, if you know John Daly, then you know he's pretty milquetoast, right? He tries to ride the fence, 2 horses with one ass, as I like to say. He doesn't really commit to anything, ever. Kind of annoying to someone like myself. But to that, he committed. And I thought, what a privilege that man got to sit back there after really not committing to anything for many years and say to Charlie Adelson to his face, I think you're guilty. I think it's absolutely amazing. So that's when I went back and I was thinking, I got a media pass, but should I be back there for the jury selection? Because I don't want to be disruptive to jury selection and cause a mistrial. Shockingly, some people don't mind that. I do. And I thought, no, it's not happening. So even when there is a new trial and I happen to get a media pass, I will not be in the jury selection because I could know people and I don't want my face to talk about it. Leslie says she read the specifics in the warrant several times. Someone in the office who types those needs more grammar. Listen, there's not really a lot of periods or commas, are there? Once the jury hears that poor man pleading for his life, she's finished. And that is on Sarah Boone. Absolutely. There's just no way that, as much as She is entertaining to watch. She is diabolical. Susan says, this is scary. My granddaughter is 9. My daughter is getting many questions very soon. Yeah. Oh, you just turn off the location. I mean, I don't like Snapchat because it's just not something I'm going to use. People love it. Young kids love it. The Delphi murders, it was because of Snapchat they were able to get Richard Allen. That was the reason they were finally, I mean, they had the picture of the guy, right, walking across that bridge to them. And that's the Indiana case. So I'm just not a fan. I think if you have children, whether and yourself, you don't want people knowing you're not home. You just don't. And Snapchat's a great way to know you're not home. Here it says, I don't think she's, Sarah Boone, going to be able to use that defense successfully if that interrogation isn't suppressed, because she clearly stated several times by accident, not intentional. And what they're talking about there is there was a hearing yesterday on Sarah Boone. I think it was, my days are running together, but I think it was yesterday. And they were trying to suppress her interrogation with law enforcement because it all goes back to my criminal procedure class. I'm not going to lie. It is fascinating to me about, are you arrested or are you being held, or are you not arrested? Are you not being held? Can you leave? Can you not leave? Did they disclose to you whether you can leave? I'm telling you. I want to go back and watch that hearing again because it was so interesting to the actual course that I'm taking. The cases, I was like, I know that case. Very interesting. Wesley, hey Wesley, it's one of the most disturbing things I've ever in a murder case. To me, it is too. I mean, you have to sit. There's one thing. It is disturbing to see Dan Markel's lifeless body on a table. Absolutely. It is very hard to watch. And I've seen a lot of death. I worked in hospice. I really did. Hold on. Sorry about this. I'm on YouTube. Bye-bye. Just wait. But I really worked in hospice, and I really worked in cancer on the cancer floor. And so I've seen a lot of death in my life. And I worked as a volunteer firefighter when I lived in Pennsylvania. You really see a lot then, because you go to all the car accidents or someone impales a tree. You know, the tree impales a person. It's not, you don't impale the tree, but the tree impales a person. It's all of that. But listening to that poor little guy in that suitcase is beyond what I can handle. You can use the same email address, but just put plus info in your email and it still comes through. You're just able to filter it. Oh, that's fun. I mean, that's a good idea. I will not have any more devices than my phone that can listen in. Creepy. I've followed this case so intently for years, my Gmail and Google searches would probably get me 30 life. You, Anita, I can't even tell you. It's not even this case. Like, I'm constantly looking. How does one fold oneself into a suitcase? Like, how does one get in that suitcase? I have a very large suitcase. Like, it's orange. I got it at TJ Maxx before triple mine. I wanted to, instead of having 3 suitcases, I was consolidating it. All good. So how does one even that size get into that suitcase? You told your grandchildren not to ever hide in a suitcase, right? It's horrible. And she's just sitting there. She is just sitting there like, yeah, I was arrested. I don't know if I was arrested. It was an accident. It wasn't an accident, you moron. Julia says, because I don't drink alcohol wine, you think you're a better person? It doesn't. Well, I don't know what that means. I think there's some words missing. But I do drink alcohol. I just don't drink to excess, and I don't drink on camera or any camera because I don't want to be on camera while I'm drinking. I don't think it's mature. That's just me. And it doesn't make me a better person. It makes me a discerning person who doesn't want a video of myself drunk for the world to see from now until my future end. Amen. I just warned them. So Bling was saying that they won't let anyone tag a location for her ranch. I just warned them that we have to keep our location private and they can say they're here. They just can't geo any post or they'll never come back. Fair. Leslie thinks that Alex Morris, attorney for Donna Adelson, said that about the phone on purpose. I hope so. I hope it was on purpose. Julia is massively missing the point. Well, she's also missing some words, and bless her heart, I have complete respect for every chat person here. I just disagree that I didn't say it makes you a better person. The amount of Diet Coke that I drink doesn't make me a better person. The amount of Diet Coke I drink on camera doesn't make me a better person. It just makes me a sober person. And now they're coming out, like I know in Florida, the whole don't drink and drive is a big deal. It is a big deal. We have a lot of students here and they jaywalk. And it has been the last 3 days, there have been 3 pedestrian deaths for jaywalking on the streets. And even if it's not my fault, they're jaywalking across the street. Not my fault because they were jaywalking. I have one drink. Who are they going to blame? The student crossing the street or me? So I don't drink and drive at all. I really don't. I might have a Mick Ultra or something, or I might have somebody come pick me up, or I might sip on it and then never finish it. Once it gets warm, I'm never drinking it anyway. But I'm not going to drink to excess and then get out in my vehicle. And I drive down Appalachia Parkway to go home. It is dark. It is a 4-lane highway and it is dark at night. And it is death-defying because there's a homeless encampment on either side of that road and you just have no idea who's going to walk in front of you. So Julia, does it make me a smarter person? Likely, if I'm not drinking on camera, but it does not make me a better person. It makes me a more discerning person about how maybe I'm viewed, how my children view me, how my grandchildren view me in the future. Oh, Matthew, you have missed a lot. Donna's jury has not been picked. It has been delayed for probably a year. We have no idea, and we won't know. I'm reading someone else's. That's my face. We don't know when until hopefully October 15th. We'll know more. I think Julia is not getting it. I don't know. But she says, I'm not murder. You are. I don't know what that means. And I don't want to make fun of whatever accent you have or don't have. So I'm just going to keep passing you from now on. I wonder. I hope law enforcement's listening. What's a Whale Harbor that Harvey can't get to? He would have to get somebody to get to it. Thank you, Nancy, for the memberships. I have not gotten to that. Crime and Coffee says the rented dock space at Whale Harbor. She has a thought about that dock. Bree does not live at Whale Harbor. Jay says, see, I told you so. I knew that probably dozens of people sent a complaint. Carl wasn't exactly the strong silent type. I'm not saying he filed a complaint, though. Maybe Charlie hid money in the walls. People do that. I mean, they hide a lot of things. Whale Harbor is a frat house. Well, it looked like one. It was a decorated one. Agreed, Patty. They're waiting for the price to climb higher. It's not climbing higher. Wesley says they couldn't remove the stench of Charlie living at Whale Harbor. Debbie says, is Whale Harbor where he kept the guy's boat? A boat was kept there. He rented that, but I don't know. I believe it's just empty. That's what I believe. I can't find any name, non-Adelson name associated with that address. Charlie loved Whale Harbor. Maybe dad is hanging on just in case. Well, Lord knows he certainly paid enough for it. Charlie didn't pay his mortgage for, I think, 4 years. And then dad comes in and bails him out with $337,000 on his short sale. Oh, he found his so-called police car on Google Maps. It wasn't how I imagined it, just a normal 4x4 thing, no lights or anything. And that's Charlie's. Charlie had other cars. Marianne says, going back to Diddy, I think that's why J-Lo and Ben may have separated and filed for divorce. Explains her body language, kissing at lunch. I just think she has a lot to worry about. I could be wrong. I'm very wrong a lot of times. Lily says, I believe Whale Harbor is a symbol of hope for Chuck. Chuck. Can we just call him Chuck now? D-Murda, thank you very much. Patty, some of the smartest people I know do not have degrees, and some of the dumbest people I know, because I've supervised them, have masters. Well, I only hand it to my kids, so little shout out to them. They don't watch this because they're my kids. They have their own tune. But Molly, my daughter, is in logistics with the Army. She's 35 years old. She's an E7. She's sung to her own tune. She is finishing her degree, but will have no student loan payments because the Army's paying for it. My middle child went to Afghanistan, served a lot, comes home, and his name's Alex, and he is a welder, and he travels as a welder, so he works on refineries, paper plants, like paper mill plants, and nuclear power plants. He's one of like 100 who does what he does. He's very in demand, and he travels all over the country. Then my youngest has his HVAC and his CDL, and he's teaching at a corrections prison in Hobbs, New Mexico now. You guys have seen James on here before. So I think you can make a good living and be in a trade and not have a student loan. Yurt says this is the home away from home. Oh, so sweet. Gift givers are awesome. Thank you so much. And I finally looked up how that does. So if you are a subscriber to this channel, and you are interested in someone giving you a gift membership, you have to go into your settings and be willing to accept a membership. So there is a setting in YouTube, and I think we can put it in a link later that shows you how to do that. But if you have your settings set to accepting a gift membership, then the memberships that are purchased for you can do that. So I thought that would be interesting to know. Debbie, I can walk you through it. She's asking how to get a membership. She has no idea what her email for YouTube is, her password. That's funny. The Sarah Boone video is disturbing, and even more disturbing is her sitting there deadpan. Like complete deadpan. You think Donna looks medicated? Hey, Sherry from the north end of I-75. How are you doing? Murder by Meister says there was another case recently where some young lad committed a murder and his girlfriend saw his location on Snapchat when he was at a river. See what I'm saying? All the folks I called out are cannibals anyway. They're absolute cretins. Absolute cretins. Did anyone else catch that Sarah Boone was using the same digital expert as Katie, that Sawakai guy? What is his name? Dana Sawakai? I don't see it. Oh, she took the stand to say she was traumatized. I'm traumatized by that case, to be honest with you. Absolutely traumatized. Simmon for life is ready for the Boone trial. There's a lot of that trial. I'm gonna watch and I'll share it when I can, but I gotta mute it. I cannot listen to that anymore. I think I could fit in that suitcase to get away from Sarah Boone. There are windows and doors, murder. You don't have to go into a suitcase. She is very dangerous, and she's like completely oblivious. She's an SNL skit without that poor family. Just such sadness. Crime and Coffee asks, Patty, can you put me in contact with a person who makes the owl necklaces? I would love one. Yes, I can. Thank you, Rochelle. I can do that. Roberta said she's getting ready for her live stream, and I made her laugh. Woo! If I can make people laugh, that's me. I love it. Murder's still on the suitcase for Sarah Boone. He said he would soundproof it, so she couldn't find him. Sarah puts herself in the jail with a video of him. Like, does she think people? This is the you're thinking that attorneys don't understand fiduciary. Like, this lady thinks that her saying that she wasn't really arrested and what she said during her interrogation isn't gonna. Come on, I can't even know. There is a bad place near the frat house. My son said many kids get run over. Well, they also have to stop jaywalking. I mean, it is a huge problem. And I don't see it as much as the students, although I was using that as an example. But the homeless population here is so outrageous. When I leave, I stay in the middle lane. I don't go to the outer lane on Appalachian Parkway because if they're running across, it gives me like how wide a lane? Like 12, I don't know, 14 feet, something like that. Then I at least have a start. Like I do that at night when I think there's going to be deer out, because by my house we get a lot of deer that cross Appalachian Parkway, which is also Route 27 or 19. And I'm like, no, no. I go so slow with my brights on, and it's just they don't care. They just don't care. They're just running across the street, hoping you slow down, or maybe they're hoping they get hit. Maybe they're hoping, and then they can sue you and you get paid. I don't know. But it's absolutely petrifying. Bilbo's Hairy Toes says, Patty, Pennsylvania is part of a compact licensure for nursing. If you apply for multiple states, you're able to practice in the other state compact states. Thank you for that. Mr. C says, college towns equal jaywalking. Well, I'm not near the college town, and it is awful. It should not even be a debate about the drinking. I know. And it really doesn't. He's so funny. It really doesn't. It doesn't make you a better person to not do it, but then maybe it does. Because if you're willing to take either your passengers' lives and make them at risk, or the people on the road, because you believe you are not drunk, which we can all see you are when you're on camera. We all know you are. Ridiculous. And stop it. And she zipped it at the bottom versus where his hands might be positioned where he could not possibly reach or wiggle. Okay, I'm going to go with that. Bye, kitty. I got to go. I don't believe that Lewis dumped it on the side of the highway. I don't believe it at all. It's the same like with Lori Page. So Lori Page has been missing from Tallahassee, Florida since June, over a year, June 3rd. And I don't believe she's even in this county. I believe that her father has not been arrested. And I don't even know if he's a suspect because Tallahassee Police Department is really good at keeping things low to the chest. Just a young girl. Now her birth age is 13. And I believe the reason why we haven't found a trace of Lori Page is because if she was done away with, which we don't know, but if she was done away with, she's not in this county. And from what I'm told with Lori Page, which I've done a couple of shows on this poor child of God, is that her father's vehicle was searched and probably cadaver dogs walked around I'm assuming, walked around his vehicle, which he drives I think it's a white Charger. He's owned for a while because I checked. And if the cadaver dogs walk around a vehicle and they don't smell anything, but they know you were in the vehicle, you were likely alive when they were in the vehicle. And that's why I do not believe that she is in this county. He worked in another county, and I believe, it's just my opinion, he is innocent as far as the law. He has not even been named a suspect, but she was somehow transported out of here by vehicle. She didn't walk off into the sunset. So Lisbeth has zero tolerance for alcohol. And really, I mean, we're not even talking about driving. We're just talking about being on camera. And lots of people do it. If you've watched any Real Housewives for any 5 seconds, you know they're not sober on camera. They couldn't possibly be and do the things they do and say the things they say. And she zipped it at the bottom or the back where his hands could not. Okay. Get you, kitty. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't wear it because we talked, but it says, Patty, I don't think you saw my post, but people have been asking for the link to the Patty's Playhouse bling shirt. So let me get it. I had it up earlier, but sorry. I'm under featured. Wait, just a minute. That's my husband. So the Patty's Playhouse shirt is under the featured, which I didn't have time to put it on, but let me show it to you. I have it here. I'm on YouTube. Can you wait and talk? All right. Everybody wants to see me. So I didn't have, I always, when I carry it, I always put it inside out because I don't want the stones or the crystals to be damaged. So here it is. Still pretty. And I think it might be a little big on me now, which praise the Lord on that. So here is the Patty's Playhouse shirt. So cute. Like she did the cherries. Like, look. I ordered the Stay Tuned, which is Lush. And then at the bottom, because we base our logo on the radio show, it says House Talk with a happy ending. Each and every time. That's what Scott says. So when I say at the end of our radio show, House Talk with a happy ending, Scott chimes in each and every time. So that's it. Patty's Playhouse. It's cute. It's a nice jersey feel. It's just too warm to wear in the summer, so I have to get a short one. But I love a V-neck, so this is a V-neck version. Can't really tell. Yes, you can right here. But it holds its own. Like, it's nice. It's a nice weight. So, unfortunately, Bling asked me to, she's like, wear it. But I didn't have time. I just had too many things running around. Thank you. I love it too. Oh, thank you. So these glasses are just on Amazon. I got to find my blue glasses. I got to call FSU and see if I left them at that dinner the other night. I don't know. Did Lewis dispose of the weapon off of a bridge or was it Sigfredo? I thought Lewis was driving. Yeah, but they could throw it out the window. I just don't believe it is. And of course, Siegfried's not speaking, so. Bye, Yala. Enjoy your dinner. I think it was rather calm for being in that godforsaken suitcase. I would have passed out from anxiety. I would have chewed my way out. Right? I mean, he was like, help, help, help. I think where Lewis knows where the gun is too. Maybe Lewis, maybe Lewis, if you showed them where the gun is, because I don't believe your little drawing, your little car drawing that you had. I wonder if I can find a picture of that. Does anyone have a picture of that? Somebody sent it to me. I mean, it was like a rudimentary, like tiny little. I don't have it. I don't have it right off my. I don't think it's in the water. I just don't think it's in the water. I do have hardworking children. Praise God, because I could not have withstood it. It's hard enough to raise kids, but they've always had a decent work ethic. So praise God on that. Hey, Brady, how are you? Sarah kicked the suitcase down the stairs. Well, isn't she lovely? What a bee. Murder doesn't think they chucked the gun in the river as well. I just don't. I don't even think it's really, it's just a kind, I think where it was, if it in that Gainesville area where the phone went back on, it's very swampy and very low there. And there's like, they call it like a pond or a lake on either side, but it's a very swampy thing. Tater says there ain't a drunk I could get that would get me in a suitcase. Highly claustrophobic. Will I be at the courthouse on the 15th? Yes, I will be. Maybe. Yes, I will be. So happy to see you, Joy. Does anyone have any other questions? He had blunt force trauma going back to Sarah Boone, so she for sure chucked him down the suitcase. You can't be a victim in this case. Like, you can't. You cannot be a victim. You can't be a victim you cannot. Eric Lieber says it's $1,000 pistol. Not likely they tossed it. I don't think so. They might have resold it. So if you follow Crystal Rogers' case, Brooks Rogers and his brother Nick sold his rifle to the feds. Like, he put it on Craigslist and the feds bought it. Like, so there's always an opportunity for stupidity to take place in these cases. I never heard that Charlie told Katie that his mom washed the money. Is that somewhere I can away? It's in the warrant. It's in the warrant. Let's go back to it. Where'd I put it now? Where did I put it? I'm so bad at this. Taking things on the fly. Pulling things out on the fly, I was told. So let's go to it. So you can't search this warrant because they scan it in. So you can't search for a word, but it was, let me go up here. Right here. Magbanua said the money she received appeared to have been washed. She also said also stated Charles told her his mother, Donna, washed the money at their condo. This statement was made prior to July 18th, and Magbanua recalled it being stated again on July 18th, the date she received the money. And these were from her proffers. They did take 2 separate trips up here, one in June and one in July, which I think we'll hear more about the June from Charlie's emails. I mean, that just makes sense to me. He was dying in a suitcase, but he's like, help, help. Ugh. Tater says, I like that you pull things out on the fly. It keeps it interesting. It's a superpower. Thank you. Lewis and his lawyer said they drove, which would be Collins. His attorney was Collins. He's out of Monticello, and he was also on a witness list. Lewis and his lawyer said they drove over 10 hours to find the gun. It's on Judy's channel. I just don't believe they did it. Jibs and Jabs believe it was dumped. I don't even believe it was sold. I think they have it and hid it. I will cover Crystal Rogers. I will. I'm going to go if I can, depending on what county's in. If it's too far, I won't be able to go. But my intent is to go to the Crystal Rogers trial. Oh, for sure. Who knows what other crimes that gun weapon that was bought would be associated with? I'm sure. Did anyone else have any questions before I go? Merv P says, I'm behind and catching up, but Merv is very funny. But the Florida bar responds to only validates your concerns. They acknowledge the issue and confirm they are looking into it. Pound sand ML. You can make PDF searchable by dropping it into Chat GPT or Google Docs. Thank you. Which I use Chat GPT all the time. T-Mobile gives me warnings all the time about my usage. Sorry, T-Mobile. I've been able to sleep, so I rewatch my favorite YouTubers like Patty. Good for you. Sorry about you're not able to sleep, though. My husband's been going through it, too. Not able to sleep. It's really hard. Did she ever testify that, or was it a proffer? According to this, it was in her proffer. In October 22 and November 22, the proffers were conducted with Catherine Magbanua confirming many of the investigation's discoveries, and that's where they got it. Crime and Coffee. I enjoyed your show on the Kentucky shooter the other night because I had to work, so I didn't get to watch a lot of the Kentucky shooter video. But that is going to be lit. Yes, Roberta is doing a show tonight. I think she's on at 6. Hey, Judy, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this. Join us on our Reddit. I'm going to make sure it's tidy. I don't like to censor, as we all know that have listened to me for 5 minutes. I don't like censoring, but I do want it streamlined. I want it to be streamlined. So, Mealy, I hope I'm saying that right. I believe all the Adelsons thought the degrees of separation between them and the hitman, along with their planned alibis, would safeguard them from being suspects. My question is, why did they continue to be friends, Catherine and Charlie? They would have been better off if Catherine just never spoke to him again, right? All of that talking and talking and talking did them in. Katie said it was damp and moldy, and we all assumed it was washed. Rightly, in my opinion. Well, apparently it was. Shelly Flynn, she's a local here who I know personally. The KY shooter case is going to be wild. So little has been unreleased. We're going to learn. I know. But wasn't it amazing that law enforcement guy sitting in that pretrial, poor guy, was just, he had nothing. If you've ever followed the Crystal Rogers case, you will understand that the Kentucky labs for crime are shit. They usually only take 5 or 6 pieces of evidence at a time. And I heard Florida's the same unless it's a big case. But they don't take a lot of evidence. And it takes them weeks and weeks and weeks. So in that case where the sheriff shot the judge, they say in cold blood, I say in a pissed off rage, that he was pissed. He was so pissed. He moved the table when he saw him like maybe moving. I don't know. Heard him breathe. Moved the table and went back to shoot him again. That's how pissed that guy was. He was really, really, really ticked. And so the state is taking over for the county because they can't. There's so much conflict there. Shockingly, so much conflict. LS, aka Chester's mom. I am in North Carolina where the storm hit and so happy to be back here. We were in a blackout. Missed this chat. I am so sorry, LS. It is awful. I know a lot of realtors in Nashville that I work with in Clearwater and moved up. It is, I don't even have words for what occurred. I mean, it's far worse than Katrina. Just the vast size of it alone, let alone the amount of water dump, let alone everything else about it. Far worse than Katrina. How is the ex-convict you had on doing? Enjoyed listening to his stories. His name's Kalen, and we still chat on Facebook and Messenger. He seems to be well. I mean, I go by what he says. Hi, Jordan. Thank you very much for your support. I thank everyone for their support. And I really do appreciate you. I respect your opinions, whether we agree or not. Your opinion is respected. The true trolls, do you know what a troll? Let's define what a troll is, because I think the word troll, a troll is, according to the Cambridge Dictionary, someone who leaves an intentionally annoying or offensive message on the internet in order to upset someone or get attention or cause trouble. That is what a troll is. Asking a question that might be dissent is not a troll. Julia mentioned something about drinking, and because I don't drink a lot, that makes me a better person. That is not a troll. That is a statement. Saying that I need to lose my visceral fat, also a statement, could be a troll if they continued, which someone, said it and I just giggled and laughed it off. I don't really care. If you are threatening to ask my dog, that is a troll and a crime. So those are very different levels of trolling, but usually dissent is not trolling. It's dissent. I enjoy dissent because it keeps my debate skills up, keeps my language skills up, keeps me learning. So I'm maybe one of the rare YouTubers of Dan Markel, but I love the chat and I love the debate. And someone said they believe that the gun was tossed. Some other people believe the gun was sold. We don't know because we don't know. But the debate itself on it and the different points of view, I find super, super entertaining. I really do enjoy it. We need to learn the art of debate and disagreeing respectfully with one another. So when I first became a realtor and I was so stone cold, shy, and introverted, it was so hard. I took Toastmasters and I watched the Harvard debate team. Those were my two things to help me understand how to pace my words, how to focus on what someone is saying so I could hear it, so I could respond. And it really, really helped me. So if someone is in sales and they're not sure how to respond effectively I used to turn super red, like everywhere, red. I would get embarrassed. I turned red so much so they called me Red Beats, which is a fun name, on the high school bus, on high school in the back. It's horrible. Willie Parker, he's passed away since, but he called me Red Beats all the time. He was just so red, like so fun. Anyway, I was like, I'm going to conquer it because it was a problem. And when I started in sales, my sales coach, John Wetzel, said, Patty, you have to conquer the redness. You have to conquer it because that's a tell. It's a tell that you're nervous. So when you're negotiating, people can find a weakness for you, and then you give up what you were trying to keep in the negotiation. So that's what I did. Harvard debate, Toastmasters. Those are my 2 tips. I told Joe from STS about your dog being threatened. He didn't comment, but I think he read it from a facial reaction. Yeah. Probably. I mean, it was horrible. But anyway, that's not a troll. That is a criminal. Okay? A troll is somebody who's like, you have, your mama, that kind of joke, to me, that's still funny. So it's really hard. I really have a hard time troll. Oh, I know one where Erica, my assistant, was sitting behind me, and she's very attractive, and they started talking about her physical features. That is a troll. That is sincerely someone annoying. But most often to me, if it's just about me, I think it's funny. So they're limited in their trolling capabilities with me. Not to be confused with leprechauns. That's true. Very much so. Night, Becky, Ireland. Love the name. I'm going to go. And then wait, Judy says, yeah, I remember Katie testified that money was moldy. However, why wouldn't she also testify that Charlie told her that his mom washed it? She wasn't asked the question. Debbie can't imagine Patty being an introvert. Girlfriend, I know it. I told you. It is really hard. Even that meet and greet I went to, I have such a hard time. I just sit out in the truck. I'm like, is this the entrance? No, it's not the entrance. So I'm going to just sit here for a while. And I just sat for a while until I'm like, you have to go in, Patty. And then you talk yourself into it. Sundance Spirit, cute name too. So appreciate you. You take the time to address as many of us that comment. You make us feel why we matter. We're seen and a part of the conversation. Well, that's my whole thing. I mean, what else? I'm not an attorney. What else am I going to talk about? I don't have great guests, but I do have the best subscribers. And that is a fact. Like, super nice. So thank you so much for the gift memberships, Mr. C. I appreciate that. I have to gift my own memberships. I have to gift some. Yurts and Things, 5. Appreciate you. Nancy Randall, 5. Thank you. Appreciate you. Kitties, although the visual of what you were saying about Sarah Boone was very visual. Donna can't help herself. There's been some good data coming in from the Google phones and other browsers' email. Maybe I could get Murder by Maestro to come on with me, and we could do a cyber security show. Maybe. I do bring the receipts, or I try to, SD. I do try to be transparent about myself and what I talk about. So thank you for the 5. And Chris Robinson, thank you for the super sticker. It's very, 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 very kind of you. I appreciate you all, and have a wonderful evening. It's Thursday. I won't be on tomorrow because I'm going to smoke cigars with my buddies. I haven't seen them in 3 weeks. So hopefully I will see you Sunday night. So take care, everybody. Have a great one.